Hey, everybody, and welcome to the DLF Trade Show on the DLF YouTube channel. When you watch this, today, it's today.
It's the day.
It is draft day. Well, I mean, it's round one of draft day, but it's the start of the draft. The NFL draft is finally here. Since you're going to be watching this the day of the draft, it really didn't make sense to try and talk about like specific players and values, because so much is going to shift. And then, of course, once next week rolls around and the draft is done, we'll get some trade for, trade away after value of the draft. Mm-hmm. So Addison had the brilliant idea of taking some of your trades out there. I don't know how he got them, but he got them somehow.
That's for me to know and for you to never find out. Right?
I do not ask questions on how Addison does stuff. And he threw them in the trade analyzer, and we're going to talk about them. And thank you for everyone who submitted, and thank you for giving some detail, because clearly when we find them in the trade finder, the only way we get context is if Addison goes digging. And even honestly, people see their teams differently than other people do. So what Addison sees as a rebuilding team, they might be like, no, I'm good, man. I'm just going to keep going. And we made them wrong.
Or maybe we were wrong. I don't know. But anyway.
Yeah, like someone was wrong, and I'll never believe it was us, because
nope. Can't be us. Can't be us. We're on the internet. We're never wrong.
My kids firmly believe anything they see on YouTube is true. So, and we are on YouTube right now.
Can't argue with the facts.
Oh, the arguments I've had over that. All right, so let's get into the trades before that starts happening. So the first one comes from Kevin Zuckerman, 12-team, 1 quarterback. Sure, I'll read the trade. I'll read the trade first, then I'll read the notes.
Sure.
Jamar Chase for Chris Olave, James Cook, and a 25 first. Jamar Chase for Chris Olave, James Cook, and a 25 first. Notes. Chase side is competing this year. Olave's side is trying to get younger, but still might compete if things work out. Jamar Chase, 939.4. Chris Olave, still at a very respectable 756. James Cook, 331. And 25 first, 291 for a total of 1379. So this is what we love. 3-for-1. Decent size overpay for a 3-for-1, no less, a 3-for-1 for a stud. So this feels right value-wise to me, because Olave and the 25 first by itself shouldn't get you Chase. And James Cook is that piece, especially if it's a competing team and they believe in James Cook. They just always want to bring more running backs in, so I never feel safe with. And plus, Josh Allen's their first running back. So I like this in theory. Like I get it, because the Olave side, is trying to get, but might still compete. So I get getting he's still a young running back. He's 24, 21 or 2. I can't remember anymore, but he's like 2-3 years in the league,
22.
right? So
this is his 3rd year.
All right. So he still has 1 more under contract. So we still don't consider him old yet. I think if I know I could flip James Cook easily, I'm cool with this. Otherwise, give me almost any wide receiver under the age of 26 for the same value, and I'm probably in anyway. And if I am competing, age is a little bit iffy, but just because I'm losing Jamar Chase, I just sending away Jamar Chase and getting someone like Adams or Keenan Allen or like these older guys that might be there for a year or two just feels a little hurtful because of what you're losing in the young stud of Jamar Chase. But still, if you're competing, I totally get it and would be fine with that. All of this being said, give me Jamar Chase.
Yeah, it's so tough trading away super stud assets, especially in a 1 quarterback format, when that removes the quarterbacks from being, the cream of the crop in that type of format. And Jamar Chase is quite literally the second or third best asset in a league like this. It's hard to trade away those types of players and either get enough value, or you got enough value, but do you still feel even good about trading away Jamar Chase? This deal, I think that you can make sense on both sides of it. I think it makes sense to go get Jamar, especially if you're competing, just condense a couple of assets, go get Jamar Chase, and maybe you don't necessarily believe in Olave or the breakout of James Cook this year. That 25 first, if it's yours, is going to be late. There are pieces there that make sense to just go get Jamar Chase, push your chips in for a season. On the flip side, if the other team's trying to get younger, get some rebuilding assets, break up his Jamar Chase to just get more players that could gain value and ultimately increase the value of his roster by this time next year. I think this is a good way to do it too. I'm kind of with you that I'm kind of nitpicking the players that they were individually. Like I probably wouldn't have gone after Olave. I probably would have gone for like Drake London or Garrett Wilson. But you have to work with who's on rosters in your league. Same with James Cook. The 25 first is great as well too. But I think this is a decent trade on both sides, to be completely honest with you. Maybe you can squeak out a little bit more, like get an extra second with Jamar Chase if you wanted. But I mean, this is a really good trade.
Next, Open for Business. 12-team Superflex, start 9. That is very important, everyone. If you're giving details about a trade, especially, the starting amount is very important because that would really, like this one's a 3-for-1. That really affects things. Both teams narrowly missed the playoffs this year, so they're both competing. And the trade is Superflex, Josh Allen for Trevor Lawrence, Brandon Ayuk, and the 211. Josh Allen in at 935, Trevor Lawrence 600, Brandon Ayuk 528, the 211 114 for a total of 1242. Again, 3-for-1, overpaying for the stud. I mean, it's pretty similar where it's a 300-400 point overpay from same as last time. And I think my answer is going to be the same as last time. Just give me the stud here. Again, these are two players that are good, have scored well, but I'm not moving for the first or second at their position like Chase or Allen. So I love Trevor Lawrence, and I'm in on Brandon Ayuk, still crossing my fingers he gets traded, today for you watching this. But this is not enough for me to move Josh Allen at all.
It's funny how similar this trade is to the first. I didn't do this intentionally. This is just how it happened. But like when you flip it to a super flex side, now Josh Allen becomes, the first or second most valuable player in that format. You're trading him down to a lower tiered player at the same position, picking up somebody else to do that, and then making up some value with an extra pick. The difference being that we just went from a 25 first to the 211 here, which is a pretty significant gap in value. And that to me, like I was already on the Jamar Chase side for the first one. Nothing's changing here. In fact, it might be even more obvious to take Josh Allen in this if you're not getting a 25 first and it's just the 211. So yeah, I want Josh Allen. I don't know if this was done prior to or after the Stephon Diggs trade. I'd imagine it's probably after the Diggs trade because there's been enough time to do stuff now.
And you're probably lower on Allen when he doesn't have a wide receiver, an established wide receiver one.
Right. But regardless, I mean, I still feel the same way about Allen as I did before Diggs. Maybe slightly less confident in his like ultimate ultra ceiling. But I mean, the dude's still going to be a top 3 fantasy quarterback because of his rushing numbers, and he can still throw for 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns and not really blink an eye. But give me Josh Allen on this one as well, too.
Next trade from Jordan Brown, 12-team, 1 quarterback, start 10. No context given. Our first of the show. 12-team, 1 quarterback, start 10. Justin Jefferson and the 206 for Jordan Addison, T. Higgins, and the 112. T. Higgins side. I mean, come on. Next trade. You seem to have a type in these trades so far, Addison. And in a 1 quarterback, the 206 is fine, but it doesn't bring anything to the table. So this is pretty much just Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson, 957, the 206, 140 for a total of 1098. Jordan Addison, 503, T. Higgins, 485, the 112, 223 for a total of 1210. Again, same, you're overpaying for the stud. You're overpaying because you're compiling value. And again, I'm taking the stud. Like, I love Jordan Addison. I love T. Higgins. But there's so much undecided stuff around these 2 wide receivers. And the 112 is fine in 1 quarterback, but it's not great. I mean, I'm trying not to use the words good and great as many times as I have this show so far, but it's kind of where it's really at. Like, if this were not Justin Jefferson and this were Garrett Wilson, and take away those, if it was like a lower level wide receiver, I'd be more willing to talk. And of course the picks would have to change and everything. But like, if it was a lower level wide receiver, I'd be fine breaking them down into these types of wide receivers. But I guess you don't care who the Minnesota quarterback is because they're both getting a Minnesota wide receiver.
Sure.
But like the second to third option, depending on when Hawk gets back, how Hawk gets back, and how that works out in the long run, the second or third wide receiver on a team that we don't know what they're doing at quarterback and could be Sam Darnold this year, and T. Higgins, who it looks like he's playing on Cincinnati, maybe for this year, and then going to be on a new team next year. A lot of undecided stuff, a lot of unknown going on. If you are rebuilding or retooling, like you're not going to compete this year, I get it a little bit in diversifying. That's always the wrong word. Just breaking down your strongest asset, I will assume, especially in a one quarterback, because he is the strongest asset. Mm-hmm. Now that I say it out loud, it's I get the idea, but again, I need one of those players to be more dependable. And that's me and my T. Higgins love still. And I can't do it. Give me Jefferson.
So I think what I've noticed from the past 3 trades, and again, I did not do this intentionally in terms of like, we're just talking about breaking down some of the best assets in the entire game right now. But what I think I've come to the realization is that the offseason is a fantastic time to go up and get studs because nobody is scoring points right now. Everything is completely theoretical. It's all potential. It's all upside. And if you can harness people who are willing to look at some of these players and say, you know, oh, if he can get to being, you know, a wide receiver 1 this year, if he can get to being, you know, that breakout QB season that we have, you know, it's a lot of ifs, it's a lot of maybes, it's a lot of hopefullys. If you can harness that and especially package a couple of those players together for just one dynamite player that we know is that player, especially a player like Justin Jefferson, whose value might be slightly depressed right now because of the quarterback situation, even though he is completely quarterback proof and proved that last year. This is the time to probably go out and try to do something like this because when points start coming in, you know, it's going to be harder to be able to do that because they're going to be Justin Jefferson is going to be scoring over 20 fantasy points per game. And the other two maybe aren't hitting the ceilings or the production that we think, or some people thought they could have done, you know, now that it's March, April, May. And especially if people start caring about their lineup too, that's probably another thing that might go on with the last 2 trades is people are like, oh, I need an RB2. Oh, I need this QB2. I need a wide receiver 3. If you can try to find and identify those managers and try to help fill their gaps by then getting that stronger asset, I think that's ultimately a win for you. And it's probably going to play out as an even bigger win once points actually start being scored.
Next trade, Jacob Danley, 10-team Superflex, start 11. Oh, really, you brought me a start 2 tight end trade?
It doesn't really matter for this trade, but it's
I know, but you still did it anyway. Sorry. Okay, so 10-team Superflex, start 11, and start 2 tight end. Notes, heavy contender and nervous about late first and late 25 first. Justin Jefferson, the 102 and the 2. Wow. Justin Jefferson, the 102 and the 202. I'm already taking the Justin Jefferson side. The 105, 106, 109, 110, and a 25 first. Oh, man, that's fun.
This is a fun trade. Whenever you see analyzer values above 1,500, especially on both sides, this is a fun trade.
All right, so 10-team Superflex. Justin Jefferson, 816, the 102, 644, the 202, 212 for a total of 1671. 105, 455, 106, 416, 109, 306, 110, 275, 25 first to 259. Give me, man, but like, how do you, Justin Jefferson and Marvin Harrison Jr.? That's going to be 2 of the top 3 wide receivers in 3 weeks, in 2 weeks, in 5 days. Like the draft is going to happen. And as long as Marvin Harrison Jr. doesn't go to like the Patriots, Marvin Harrison Jr. is probably going to come in as like the wide receiver 3, maybe 4 if people really still like CD Lamb. But it's been 5 months since he scored fantasy points, so
he's no longer good anymore.
He's old.
It's all hype and potential for Marvin Harrison Jr. How's the answer to this just not Justin Jefferson and Marvin?
The answer is absolutely just Justin Jefferson. But I need to say, this is so much fun. Getting like half of the first round.
Yep.
And wait, hold on. 1, 2. Okay, it's only 4 this year. So it's so much. Like, that sounds like so much fun, but you are giving up far too much. Like, I get that this is a good class. This is a deep class. I firmly believe that there's a very good, like, in 2020 and 2021, we had players drafted at the end of the first that we felt good that they will be starters and contributors in the NFL.
One of them ended up being Justin Jefferson. So,
and I was about to say, not to say that any of these people are going to be Justin Jefferson, like that, or even Devonta Smith or Jalen Waddle, especially like what Jalen Waddle did rookie year. But like, that's the feeling a little bit for me in this draft. They're not that, but they're still very good, much better than the past 2 years. Even when we were drafting, like, maybe, I mean, Olave fell a little later in a lot of drafts, but like George Pickens and those level of players from, that was like 21, I think, right? Man, all of it's starting to blur together. I think 22. That was 22.
But no, I think, this is very easily Justin Jefferson and Marvin Harrison for me. I get the other side of this, but this is something where like people are like, oh, I need more draft capital. I want more picks. I want to get in on this year's draft class. How do I do that? And I'm like, and then a lot of times they come to me and they ask me for that. And then they say, well, I have Justin Jefferson. I have AJ Brown. I have, Bijan Robinson. And I'm like, but you already have the studs. Why would you trade the studs away for more dice rolls and maybes? And I mean, because you can very easily hit on all 4 of those players. You could just as easily not hit on any of them. And maybe it's some combination where, you end up, yes, you draft Malik Neighbors, but then you draft somebody else and they're this year's Jalen Reagor or Quentin Johnston, like that happened in 2020. I'm sorry I keep bringing up Johnston, but like that happened in 2020. There are landmines in every single draft class, and especially when you have this many picks and you're hoping for that type of value return, the probability is that you're going to hit on one of those landmines because you have just a sheer volume of these picks. And then that trade is going to skew even harder towards the known of Justin Jefferson. And if Marvin Harrison is, the player that we think he is, sheesh.
I mean, would you if you had the 102, would you trade the 102 for the 105 and 106? I think I would. Yeah.
Like, I don't think I would do the
2 tight ends. I haven't been in a 2 tight end league in a very long time. I greatly dislike them. I'll take every opportunity to say that. But I'm going to assume it's crazy enough that Bowers will probably go top 4, which means
100%.
That's going to push Neighbors probably to 5, or one of these quarterbacks to 5. So if you trade the 102, you trade Marvin Harrison for the 105 and the 106, and you walk out with Neighbors and Odunze, or Neighbors and McCarthy.
Neighbors and Daniels. I mean, you can get both of them.
Yeah, like some random combination. I always say McCarthy because he's the later one, and I don't want to.
May's probably more likely to be in
Bowers,
that group
too. Yeah, we're pushing back a lot because Neighbors is 5-ish anyway. So yeah, you could walk away with May, Daniels, and Neighbors, and that feels like a huge win.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I was thinking about this entire time, staring at this trade. Like, why is the 102 in this trade? And I was trying to break it down. Like, I don't think I trade Justin Jefferson for any order. Maybe all of these picks I would trade Justin Jefferson for if I was really bored one day. Like, if I happen to have like 40% shares of Justin Jefferson across my teams, and someone offers me this and they catch me on the right day or the wrong day, depending on what you're looking at, maybe I do it just for the funsies of it. But no. So like pulling Justin Jefferson out, like this could have been smaller. I mean, clearly the other team has to agree to it also, but like that's where my head is stuck. So if I could keep half these picks and just trade 2 of them to move up to go get Marvin Harrison Jr., I love that. On the other hand, if I have Justin Jefferson already and have the 102, I love the idea of getting Malik Neighbors and maybe Justin Jefferson's quarterback. Like, depending on how the real draft falls and rookie drafts and all of that. Like, yeah, this is crazy to me.
It's so much fun though.
All right, so now we can scroll down. Yeah, it's so much fun. I'm scrolling down and all I see are the top 2 people, and they are not of this level anymore. So we can move on. We could move on a little bit. From Ryan C, we have a 12-team Superflex start 9. Zay Flowers and Khalil Shakir for Devontae Adams and a 25-second. The notes on this was Flowers was his wide receiver 5. And I love that they put this in here because it doesn't matter in the slightest.
Take that, Ryan.
Good for you if they were willing to sell Flowers for less than he is worth because he is their wide receiver 5. You are trading players away at the value they will be to the other person's team, not to what they will be for you. Because if I happen to have Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Jalen Hurts on my Superflex team, I'm not going to trade Jalen Hurts away cheaply because I won't be starting him. I don't care. No one else can start him because he's sitting on my bench. If I'm trading away Jalen Hurts to a team who can start him against me, it is going to be worth the QB1 spot on his team. That's why, no offense to Ryan C. or whoever the other person was in this, it shouldn't matter how many players of worth this person has. Man, all of that being said, I think I want Adams in the second because I really like Davante Adams. No matter what team he's on or who his quarterback is, he's going to do really well. I don't care that he's 31. His route running is still some of the best in the league. That doesn't matter with age. That doesn't go away. And Zay Flowers is fine. He really, really is. He is stuck in that wide receiver 2 glut for me. When I almost said Zay Andrews, and that would have been an interesting combination. Even when Mark Andrews got hurt and before Likely really started to come into his own, Zay Flowers was doing pretty well, but even that went away a little bit pretty quickly. Like, I like Zay Flowers as a decent wide receiver 2 with higher up wide receiver 2 upside. Davante Adams can walk in and be a top 12 producing wide receiver this season, and I don't think anyone bats an eye at it. And I'll take a 25-second pretty easily over Khalil Shakir.
I still want Zay Flowers in this one. I honestly, I don't really view, like, Adams is fine for like a 1-year contender, which I think that's what the goal is here. But Zay Flowers scored like 2.5 points per game less than Davante Adams last year as a rookie.
Yeah, with half the season without Mark Andrews.
I mean, yeah, sure. But like, there's so much to grow with Zay Flowers that is it worth losing 8 years of age to get a minimal upgrade in points per game?
Yeah.
And Adams just had the second highest target number of his career last year. The first being in Vegas the first year, but it dropped. So he is a 100%, like, it's all volume for Adams. And you could probably argue that the volume will stay the same especially because they lost Josh Jacobs as well too. And he was already doing that with Jacoby Myers, and Michael Mayer didn't really do all that much. But like, imagine if they add somebody else, or if Gardner Minshew isn't as great and he would just, maybe that was just like Shane Steichen's offense that Gardner Minshew did more than well in to support Michael Pittman.
I've seen him do more than well enough in multiple offenses that I feel better about Gardner Minshew than I did Aiden O'Connell.
That's fair. But like, I don't think Adams goes anywhere up from where he did last year. Whereas Flowers, I think, can definitely go up from last year. And I'm not saying that Flowers is going to
value or production.
Both.
Okay. Well, Flowers, yes.
Adams is not going up in value,
ever.
And I don't think his production is going to go up from last year either. Like, I think that he was a wide receiver 1 in total points last year, but he was not a wide receiver 1 in points per game. And Flowers, was a back end wide receiver 2, mid wide receiver 3 in total points, and a little bit higher than that in points per game.
I do love,
like, it's a minimal difference.
Wide receiver held up there, playing more games than a lot of the younger guys did. That
he did. Adams is fantastic and has been a fantastic wide receiver, but I value the age more than the minimal point per game difference.
Absolutely get it. You're wrong, but I get it.
Okay.
Next, David Murphy, 12-team Superflex start 10. Oh, okay. Brock Purdy and a 25-second for the 106 and Jackson Smith-Njigba. Brock Purdy, 521.5. The 25-second, 82.5 for a total of 604. The 106, 416. JSN, 377 for a total of 794. I wanted to take the JSN side so badly just to choose JSN. Like, it's Brock Purdy for me. I love JSN. I think JSN will do better than last year. That's a lie. I think he will build off what he was doing at the end of last season. I think is a better way for me to word that, because towards the end of the season, he was doing really well. And now they bring in an offensive coordinator who likes to run 3 wide receiver sets. So I'm not worried at all that Tyler Lockett is back. All of my worries were based on if they stayed with the same front office from last year. Now that Tyler Lockett's back and they have the 3 wide receiver set that uses as their base, at least again, everything that I've read or seen or heard, I love it. I'm in on JSN. And the 106, again, this is a 12-team super flex. So we're in that Bowers Odunze 4th quarterback area. And on the other side, I would not be surprised if, this has to be very specifically worded, Brock Purdy last year finishes, if he never finishes as high in the quarterback ranking again. He was the, I believe, points per game QB 6-ish. While he may score that many points again, while he may still be a QB 1 again, the amount of QBs that were hurt and the good QBs that are coming in, I don't think he's going to be a QB 6 in points per game again. Like, I would not be surprised if last season was his points per game ceiling.
Use QB 6 overall, QB 8 in points per game if you include Joe Flacco in the points. QB 7 if you don't include Flacco.
We are not discluding Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco belongs there.
QB 8 in points per game than last year.
Yeah. So, like, again, yeah, like, will he finish as a low-end QB1? Very likely. Again, the analyzer is pretty decently on the 106 and JSN side. But I think I just take the quarterback.
Yeah, I'm taking the 106 and JSN on this one because in my head, the 106 is going to be, it's either going to be a quarterback, which, yes, as long as it's not Jane Daniels, it's going to be a quarterback that is valued lower than Purdy. If it's May in New England or if it's May in New York. I just got a sleeper notification saying that the Giants are trying to trade up for Drake May to 3 or 4. So that would be interesting too. Or if it's JJ McCarthy, then it's McCarthy. And but it's still a quarterback. And then you're easily taking JSN over a 25-second. And that difference to me is more worth the difference than I think there is between Purdy and the rookie quarterback. If it's not a rookie quarterback, then it's Neighbors or Odunze, which I feel just as confident about in both of them. So I definitely understand why you just want to take Brock Purdy. And especially if you're a team that, like I just want to go for it. I need a better QB2. I get that, but I think I'm sticking with the value on this one for the 106 and JSN.
I'll spell it out in case anyone hasn't picked up what I was putting down this entire conversation. The risk scares me, and that's what it is. So if you are less risk averse, absolutely the pick in JSN, because the value is better. The upside is extremely better because, like I said, I think Brock Purdy's upside is pretty capped, but it's a little scary for me. That's that. I don't have the intestinal fortitude for that kind of move. Brian S. 12-team Superflex start 9. Ooh, a 101 trade in the Superflex League. 101 for Jordan Love, the 109, and a 25 first. Note, heavy rebuilder selling the 101, which is the right move, by the way. So the 101, 785. Jordan Love, 660, the 109, 306, the 25 first, 259 for a total of 1225. I want you to talk first because I did something like this in a league and I need to remember what I did.
Okay, yeah. So this one to me, I really like it from the 1.01 side to sell the 101. If you are a heavy rebuilder, and he put in his team as well too. His best quarterbacks were Geno Smith and Justin Fields. Then he has like his best wide receivers are Stephon Diggs, Christian Watson, Marvin Mims. It's not really a fantastic roster, and he very deservedly got the 1.01, I think, last year. Yeah. So if you're that far in the hole, essentially roster wise, it is within your best interest to try to get a haul for the 1.01, and that is exactly what he got here. Jordan Love is going to be great. He definitely deserves to be a backing Dynasty QB1 because of his age and what he did last year and the ability to grow in that Packers offense with all the young receivers that he has. The 109 is going to be a really good player. It could be Brian Thomas Jr. It could be insert Bills wide receiver here. It could, the 109 is still going to be, I think, a very valuable pick because it's going to be the first pick of whoever gets vaulted up from the NFL draft after, Bowers and
pick of the second.
Yeah.
Team,
Yeah, I think that's going to be. I think people are going to view the 109 as closer to being in that top tier than in that more second-ish tier. And then the 25 first is going to be great as another asset that you can use later on to do something with, or if it ends up being a good draft pick, then you can get a good rookie next year.
Yep.
There's a lot of good pieces value-wise and production-wise from Jordan Love that Jordan Love will help you compete when you're ready, but he also won't really detract your path of getting the 101 next year with the roster that you have right now. I think I'd like that first to be a second if I was buying the 101 in this scenario, but I'd probably still do it for Caleb.
Again, there's things you have to do to trade for certain things. Like all of those trades we were looking at for Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and Josh Allen, the 101 in this kind of year is absolutely up there also. So I don't think anything lighter than this gets accepted. Again, I do have the 101 in this league, but I didn't use it in the trade for Jordan Love. But I tried, Jordan Love plus kind of thing. But we're both rebuilding, so it was tough to get something like that done. So I get it. And just like Addison said, just like we were talking about with these higher end assets, if you believe in Caleb Williams, you're not going to be sad to see Caleb Williams on your team. Of course, we have to worry if he hits in the league or not, which is a completely separate worry, because that's not really baked into his value. His value is baked in as he's pretty much not a stud, because he can still move up to that first quarterback tier, but like he's pretty much being expected to be a stud already.
There's not a lot of room for error.
Yeah. Next trade, Steve Apel, 12-team Superflex start 8. Stephon Diggs, Dallas Goedert, and Gabe Davis for Rashee Rice. Notes, competing. Diggs, Davis were wide receiver 4 and 5, Goddard tight end 2. So they sold a bunch of assets, especially in a start 8, that aren't going to crack your lineup for Rashee Rice. Then immediately did a trade of Rashee Rice for a 25 first. So let's start this out. He traded Steph Diggs, Dallas Goedert, and Gabe Davis, all which total up to 414, for Rashee Rice, who totals 277.4. Where, I'll take Rashee Rice at this point. I don't know how I'm feeling about Diggs right now, being crowded, having 2 straight seasons of not finishing very strongly. Whether that's age or whether that's attitude, I can't say. We'll see this year, I guess. Dallas Goedert, who's now in that glut of okay tight ends, and Gabe Davis is just Gabe Davis. So I'll do that. And then Rashee Rice for 25 first, I've seen him go for a lot less. So, and all of that being said, I would easily trade Diggs, Goddard, and Gabe Davis for a 25 first. 25 first being 259, so worth pretty much the same as Rice.
Yeah, I do like both of these trades back to back. I like getting Rashee Rice in this deal because you're just, especially in a start 8, like you said, like you are just consolidating depth for an actual starter. And you can argue all the legal stuff that's going on with Rashee Rice right now, but like I would rather make that bet on Rice than I would on Stephon Diggs as the maybe at best second option on the Texans at 30 years old as a free agent next year. There's still a lot of unknown with Stephon Diggs as well, too. And I don't even know if the production is necessarily going to be there. And it's probably not going to be there compared to what it was in Buffalo, So yeah. I'd rather take the shot on Rashee Rice there and just consolidate everything that you have going on. Give me the younger wide receiver who showed a bunch of upside and potential as the wide receiver 1 for Patrick Mahomes. And then he turned around, he traded Rice for a 25 first. I don't mind that. I don't know how quickly these 2 trades were done. Like if you did the Rashee Rice trade kind of prior to the legal stuff, but then the legal stuff came out and you were kind of worried about it. And then you just wanted to cash out for a first. But like you said, like I've seen a lot worse deals for Rashee Rice right now. Yeah. So getting a 25 first is a win for you. If you are concerned about all the stuff, at the same time, I think if you're not concerned about the stuff, I would send a 25 first for Rashee Rice.
Yeah.
Like if it came down right now, this minute, you just got a notification saying that Rashee Rice is going to pay all these fines and he's going to be suspended for 6 games in 2024.
Appeals it down to 4.
He could appeal it down to 4, yes, but we know at most it's going to be 6, and he's not going to go to jail or anything like that. I would pay a 2025 first for Rashee Rice with that situation. So
4-6 games to a 23-year-old wide receiver should change nothing.
Nope.
Short of if you're the kind of person who thinks it's a pattern for him, which some people came out saying that there was character concerns. I haven't found anything otherwise that said that, besides a couple of people anecdotally saying it. Like, I don't remember seeing anyone's report that said there was character concerns for Rice. But if they're right, then they're right. But I don't know. I just wanted to put that out there, that if you're not concerned that this is a pattern, if it was just like a stupid kid doing a stupid thing, or a kid doing a stupid thing, not a stupid kid, sorry, then yeah, sending a 25 first for someone who has the ability to be a very non-conforming wide receiver one, because he is not your average wide receiver one on a team, but still, he's going to be a top 2 target for Patrick Mahomes. And again, I said from the second Marquise Brown signed there that was great for Rashee Rice. Mm-hmm. And I stand by that. So yeah. So again, I love, first of all, cascading trades, because the idea of it makes me happy. And I'm good with this in either way. Like, it could have stopped with Rashee Rice and I'd be fine with it. But I also love the idea of turning that into a 25 first, and then into the season, you use that to get a running back when yours inevitably gets hurt. Like, whatever, you could do so many things with the 25 first, because according to the analyzer, they're pretty much equal value. You will find more people willing to trade for a first round pick than a specific player most of the time. Mm-hmm. So it really just made it easy for him in the long run to keep it rolling. Mm-hmm. Well, thankfully, that is the last thankfully, that is the last trade on the sheet, because I just got a message that my meeting is starting. So this has been the DLF trade show on the DLF YouTube channel. Russ Fisher, Dynasty Outhouse, Addison Hayes at AmazeHayes _ who forgot to put our names down here again. This has been the DLF trade show on the DLF YouTube channel. I think I said that already, but I interrupted myself and I lost track. Catch you next time.